Cricket has spent more than a century arguing about the greatest fast bowler, the greatest spinner, the greatest swing bowler. It has been asking the wrong question, because no bowler is built for every surface. A green pitch doesn't reward the same skills as a dusty one. A flat batting paradise demands a completely different kind of genius from a cracked fifth-day wicket. Every great pitch asks one impossible question. The greatest bowlers became the perfect answer. But there is a catch. The moment the pitch changes, or the batters finally decode the method, even legends begin to look ordinary. We saw it in the 2026 IPL. Bumrah, the greatest death bowler of his generation, endured one of the leanest stretches of his career on the very kind of flat pitches where he had spent a decade terrifying batters. That wasn't bad luck. It was a reminder that cricket's greatest weapon has never been speed, or spin, or swing. It has always been adaptation. Today we're traveling across 6 completely different battlegrounds to discover how 6 legendary bowlers transformed ordinary pieces of earth into places where batting became survival.
Chapter 1. The flat pitch doesn't reward bowlers, it rewards precision.
A perfect batting pitch looks harmless, even bounce, little movement, short boundaries, runs everywhere. For most bowlers, it is the closest thing cricket has to quicksand. Every mistake disappears into the outfield. So Bumrah stopped trying to beat the pitch. Instead, he attacked time itself. His unusual action releases the ball closer to the batter than almost any other elite fast bowler. That tiny difference steals precious milliseconds of reaction time. Suddenly, a Yorker isn't simply accurate, it arrives before your brain has fully processed it. Even more impressive was the disguise. Yorker, slower ball, bouncer, almost identical arm speed. If a batter cannot recognize the delivery from the hand, they must wait until after the ball pitches. By then, it is already too late. But cricket eventually solves every puzzle. Batters began standing deeper inside the crease. The Yorker became a low, full toss. The impossible became merely difficult. The lesson? On flat pitches, perfection isn't permanent. Every specialist eventually gets studied.
Chapter 2. The green pitch doesn't need pace, it needs doubt.
Nothing destroys confidence faster than uncertainty. That is exactly what a fresh green pitch creates. The seam grips, the ball wanders, edges appear from nowhere. James Anderson understood something many fast bowlers never do. Movement is more frightening than speed. His masterpiece was the Wobble seam. Released almost identically every time, it refused to reveal which direction it would move. Sometimes, even Anderson couldn't predict it. Imagine facing that for 90 overs. Every leave feels dangerous. Every defensive shot feels risky. Every ball becomes another question. So Anderson kept asking it, fourth stump, again and again and again. He didn't chase wickets. He waited for doubt to create them. And the only reliable answer? Play impossibly late. The first batter whose hands drift away from the body usually becomes the next slip catch, because on a green pitch, indecision is fatal. Chapter 3. The bouncy pitch punishes hesitation. Every great bowling spell has a signature. For Mitchell Johnson, it wasn't swing, it wasn't accuracy, it was hesitation. A fast, bouncy pitch creates the most uncomfortable decision in batting. Do you go forward, trusting the length, or do you stay back, expecting extra bounce? Against most bowlers, that decision has a correct answer. Against Johnson in the 2013-14 Ashes, it often didn't. His pace regularly exceeded 150 kilometers per hour. But what truly destroyed England was his relentless length. Ball after ball climbed viciously from just short of a good length, following the batter towards the ribs, gloves, and helmet. He wasn't trying to beat the bat, he was trying to confuse the feet. When a batter is caught between the front foot and the back foot, neither position is balanced. The hands instinctively reach for the ball, the bat face opens slightly, and the edge becomes almost inevitable. That is why so many dismissals during that Ashes series looked strangely similar. Not elegant drives, not expansive strokes, just survival instincts. The obvious response might seem to be aggression. Hook him, pull him, fight fire with fire. History says otherwise. The safest option was often the least glamorous. Sway underneath the bouncer, leave whenever possible, and wait until your eyes adjusted to the pace before attempting attacking shots. Because on a genuinely quick surface, courage alone is not enough. The pitch rewards conviction. It punishes hesitation.
Chapter 4. The dusty pitch rewards revolutions.
If a green pitch asks questions in the air, a dusty pitch asks them after the ball lands. Late in a test match, the surface begins to crack. Footmarks widen. Dust loosens. Every delivery starts interacting with the pitch differently. This is where Muttiah Muralitharan became almost impossible to survive. Most people remember the turn. The real weapon was the revolutions. Murali generated extraordinary spin on the ball, creating drift before pitching, sharp deviation after landing, and most importantly, unpredictable bounce. That combination trapped batters in a constant cycle of doubt. Do you play for the turn or the bounce? Sometimes the ball gripped and leapt towards the shoulder. Sometimes it skidded underneath the bat. You could read the spin perfectly and still be dismissed. That is why great players often looked strangely defensive against him. They weren't simply playing the bowler, they were waiting for the pitch to reveal its decision. Two deliveries released at identical speeds can behave completely differently once they land. But even this genius had limits. On Australia's hard, true pitches, where the surface offered little grip and almost no assistance, Murali's extraordinary method became far less destructive. The lesson wasn't that he became a worse bowler, it was that even greatness needs the right environment. Because dusty pitches don't reward spin, they reward revolutions.
Chapter 5. The old ball lies.
Every batter grows up learning to watch the seam. Against Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis, that instinct became a trap. By the time the ball reached 20 or 30 overs old, most bowlers wanted a replacement. Pakistan wanted exactly the opposite. Through meticulous care, one side of the ball remained polished, while the other became rough. That imbalance created reverse swing, causing the ball to move in the opposite direction from what decades of cricket had taught batters to expect. It felt like betrayal. The seam suggested one path, physics delivered another. Unlike conventional swing, reverse swing arrives late, very late. A batter can judge the line correctly for almost the entire journey, only to watch the ball dart violently into the stumps in its final moments. Akram possessed the artistry, Waqar possessed the violence. Together, they transformed the old ball from a fading weapon into the most feared phase of an innings. The Yorker became almost impossible to escape, not because batters failed to see it, because they saw it too late. The only realistic defense was to ignore the seam completely, watch the ball directly from the hand, and keep the front leg clear enough to react at the last possible instant. Reverse swing changed more than bowling. It changed trust itself, because the old ball had learned to lie.
Chapter 6. When the pitch stops obeying physics.
Some pitches reward skill, others reward patience. A sticky wicket rewards neither. Before covered pitches became standard, rain could transform a cricket ground into something almost unrecognizable. The surface absorbed water. Then the sun baked it unevenly. Some patches gripped, others skidded. No two deliveries behaved alike. To a batter, it felt less like facing a bowler, and more like negotiating with chaos. The most difficult wickets to bat on are sticky ones. Even Bradman is said to have struggled on them. But if anyone has utilized the sticky wicket to its highest degree, it's none other than Derek Underwood. Most spinners responded by slowing down, hoping extra flight would create turn. Derek Underwood did exactly the opposite. He bowled quickly, almost at medium pace. The faster trajectory forced the ball into the damp surface before it had time to lose momentum. It gripped violently, kicked unexpectedly, or stayed alarmingly low. Every delivery became an experiment. On wet wickets, Deadly was his name.
Now Underwood at this end. To bowl to Mallet. He's out! Caught by Brown. And that one lifted.
Dead pitch. People often use the terms flat pitch and dead pitch as if they mean the same thing. They don't. A flat pitch is hard, true, and consistent. The ball comes nicely onto the bat with good pace and bounce. Timing feels effortless, making it ideal for stroke makers. A dead pitch goes one step further. It is still flat but slower and lifeless. The surface offers almost no seam movement, almost no turn, and very little carry to the wicket-keeper or slips. Even edges often fall short because the pitch simply refuses to generate energy. Both are nightmares for bowlers, but for different reasons. On a flat pitch, batters attack because the bounce is trustworthy. On a dead pitch, they accumulate because nothing unpredictable happens. In both cases, the bowler must create every opportunity without expecting any help from the surface. That is why the greatest bowlers on these pitches are not always the fastest, they are the most precise. No one embodied that better than Jasprit Bumrah. While most fast bowlers searched desperately for movement that never came, Bumrah accepted a simple reality. The pitch wasn't going to save him, so he attacked the only thing the pitch couldn't protect, the batter's reaction time. His unique release point, awkward angle, and remarkable control allowed him to manufacture uncertainty on surfaces designed to eliminate it. Yorkers landed within centimeters of the block hole. Slower balls arrived with identical arm speed. Even full tosses were difficult to score from because batters simply couldn't read them early enough. When the pitch offered nothing, Bumrah created something. That is the hallmark of every great dead pitch specialist. Other bowlers who excelled on dead pitches. Glenn McGrath, perhaps the greatest dead pitch fast bowler ever. He rarely relied on movement. His relentless line, length, and bounce created wickets even on lifeless Australian roads. Curtly Ambrose generated awkward bounce from a high release on flat Caribbean pitches after they became less lively in the 1990s. Sean Pollock, exceptional on unresponsive surfaces because of immaculate accuracy and subtle seam position.